In this lesson, we're going to take the animation that you created in the last lesson and open it up in the render queue and learn how to render or export compositions using the render queue, which is a panel built right into After Effects. To export a composition using the render queue, go to the top menu, go to File, Export, and there you will see Add to Render Queue. If it is grayed out and you are unable to select it, that's because you must have either the composition window selected or the timeline panel selected. Then when you go to the top menu, File, Export, now you'll be able to select Add to Render Queue. You can also add to Render Queue if you go to the top menu, Composition, Add to Render Queue, and there you will also find the keyboard shortcut, which is Command or Ctrl M. The render queue will open up down in the timeline panel. You can drag and drop items directly from the project panel right into the render queue. I'll select the composition, drag it onto the render queue panel. I can go into the footage file. I can drag in PNG images, PSD files, video files. Then it's just a matter of configuring the render settings, choosing the formats you want to export as, and then you just choose the location where you want to export or render the final output file. And to delete something from the render queue, just select it or select multiple items and tap the delete key. Okay, so you have finished working on an animation and now you want to export it as a video so you can share it online. To add an open composition to the render queue, select either the composition window or the timeline. Go to the top menu, go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue, or Composition, Add to Render Queue, or use the keyboard shortcut Command or Ctrl M. You can right-click for a contextual menu, and one that I want to point out is Add Output Module. You can also add additional output modules by just clicking this little plus icon. I can choose multiple formats. I can output it to, or export it to multiple destinations on my computer or hard drives. So from one composition, you can use the render queue to generate multiple files, all using different formatting, and save them to the location of your choice. And to remove output modules, just click on the little minus icon. So first we'll look at render settings. And if you want the details of what the current render settings are, just click on this little arrow. And if you want to change any of these settings, you just need to click in the link for the render settings. So this best settings is the default, and in most cases is going to be all you need. And if you look next to best settings, there's a little arrow. This is a quick menu. These are presets or templates meant to speed up your workflow. And if you come up with your own custom settings that you want to reuse over and over again, well then you can just make your own template. So every time you go into the render queue, you can just go in this little quick menu and choose your own custom templates. To customize or change the render settings, go ahead and click on the link for the best quality, and to make sure that your final outputted file is the same dimensions as your composition settings, make sure that the resolution is set to full. Most of the other settings up here you'll probably just leave as is. If we go down to the time sampling section, you can change the frame rate of your composition here if you wanted to. I do want to point out this though, time span. This could be really useful if you only wanted to export a part or a section of your composition. So let's say that you only wanted to export between the 2-second and the 3-second mark. Well, you can set the beginning of a work area by tapping B for beginning, and drag the CTI to where you want the end of your work area to be and tap the letter N. So B for beginning, N for end. So this is the work area. This little bar right here is the work area. I'll press Command or Ctrl M to open the render queue. And if I go into the render settings, if I set it to work area only, the render queue is only going to export or render that work area that you set. So in this composition, the work area is the entire length of the composition. So it really doesn't matter in this case whether I chose length of comp or work area only, but just know that it is an option. If you only want to export the work area, you can do so in the render settings. I'll click OK to close the render settings dialog box, and then I'm going to collapse the render settings. The output module and the output 2 are really the two places in the render queue where you're going to really focus on. When I have a composition that I just want to quickly export as a video that I can upload online, I often just go into the render queue, go to the output module, click on the dropdown for this quick menu, which is all presets, and just choose this option here, H.264 match render settings 40 megabits per second. And maybe you're not sure which one you should choose between the 40, the 15, and the 5. You want good quality, but you also don't want a huge file size. Well, you can start with the 40, add another output module, change that one to 15, add another output module, and select 5. And now you can export all three versions and choose the one that works best for you. And to remove one of these output modules, just click on the minus symbol. If you are not seeing the format that you want to export as in this drop-down menu, for example, I do not see JPEG, well, all you have to do is just click on this link and it's going to open up the output module settings. Now, whatever you have this set to, so I have it set to this H.26440, when I click this, these are the settings that are populated in this dialog box. Format is the dropdown you're going to use the most. This is where you can choose what format you want to export your compositions or your files to. You'll see there's JPEG, you can do audio only, there's PNG, Photoshop, QuickTime. If you only want to export the audio, you could uncheck that and then just work on the audio settings down below. There's format options, which is going to give you some additional settings. Resize, this could be useful. If you wanted to customize the size of your export, you can change that here. You can choose one of the presets that you get when you're setting up a new composition, or you can just manually enter in your own settings. And once you're done setting things up, you just click OK. You can click this dropdown again and choose Make Template, and you can make your own template. So every time you come into the render queue, you can just click this little quick menu and choose your own custom templates to save yourself time. And to edit or delete your templates, go back into Make Template. Choose your custom template from the list. You can choose Edit. You can do Duplicate if you want to start another one based on those settings, or click Delete, click OK, and now when you go back in that quick menu, it should be gone. And the last thing you'll do is set the output to. Where do you want to export or render this file to on your computer? Now in this dropdown, there's some options for custom namings. So if you're working with a team or if you have really specific naming conventions, you can set those up here. Otherwise, in most cases, I just click on the link. I just choose a location on my hard drive, give it a name. There's a little notify checkbox. You'll also see that notify checkbox in the bottom right corner. I personally do not check it, but if you're wondering what it does, in your Adobe Creative Cloud desktop app, if you look in the top right corner, you'll see a little bell for notifications. So if you have that checkbox checked, when your renders are done, you'll get a notification. If you have multiple items in your render queue, you can select which ones you want to render and which ones you don't. So just click the checkbox, and now only the ones that have a check mark will render when you start the render process. And just for fun, let's add 2 more output modules. So currently I have the H.26440, so I'll click the plus. This time I'll select the 15. I'll make sure the output is going to the same place. Give it the same name, only I'll call this one 15 so I know. Click Save. I'll click the plus. This one I'm going to change to the 5 megabits. For the output 2, I'll call it the same name. On this one I'll do 5. Click Save. And to start the render queue or the exporting process, just go to the top right corner and click on the button that says Render. But before I do so, a little warning. The noise that it makes when it's done rendering always gets me to jump out of my seat a little bit. So I'm just giving you a warning. Here we go. I'll click on the button Render. At the top, you can see the progress bar. If I twirl it open, you'll see some additional information. And when it's done, and now on my desktop, I have the 3 rendered or exported videos ready to go. I'm on a Mac, so I can just select them, tap the space bar to preview. If I tap Command I to bring up Get Info, You can see here in the middle, I can see the dimensions, the formatting, the H.264, the duration of each video. In the top right corner, I can see the file size. Notice those 5, 15, and 40 all correspond to the file size. When you go back into After Effects, into the render queue, that composition that we just rendered, notice all the settings are grayed out. So if you want to re-render something that's already been done, all you have to do is duplicate it. So you can right-click, choose one of these options, or just use Command or Control D. Now all the settings are available, and you can just customize it as you want. To clear the render queue, just select, tap the delete key. If you are working on a composition and you want to save or export a frame of the composition, so maybe you want to export this to use as a thumbnail in your YouTube video, we'll just drag the CTI to the frame that you want to export, go to the composition menu at the top, go to Save Frame As, and choose File. Once you click this, the render queue is going to open. Go to the Output module, click, go to Format, choose whether you want to export as a JPEG, maybe you want to export as a PNG, but I'm just going to choose JPEG sequence. Click Format Options. I can set the quality of the JPEG. I'll keep it at the max. Click OK. Click OK. Go to Output to, give your file a name. Click Save. Click Render. I'll go to my desktop. And there's my JPEG. So now you know when you want to export something from After Effects, you can do so by sending it to the render queue, customizing the settings, then clicking Render to output files. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you an alternative to using the render queue, as I'm going to show you how you can export from After Effects using Adobe Media Encoder. This is a standalone application that you download when you install After Effects.